You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 5th day of December, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First broadcast is private. That's for members only and those taking their 1-week free trial. Not yet taken your 1-week free trial. When Michael joins us in about an hour, he'll walk you through step by step how to take the trial, get your indicators up and indicating today. Trial will officially begin Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when we go to work. And it will run all the way through next Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. No credit card required. I want you to focus on what's being taught so that at the end of your trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. I want you focused on whatever money you may have to put up for some of the trials out there. No. So we just swing our door wide and we give you more than just access to the live training room. We give you access to everything we do around the clock. Got a lot going on. 24, 5.5. We do take Saturday off and part of Sunday. But we go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when the Globex markets open. That's when the start flowing. So, at the top of the hour, Michael will walk steps. It'll take you about 3 minutes of your time. And then you'll have the indicators to kind of get familiar with. Weekend. Remember, some markets never sleep. You'll be ready for Globex Open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then the live training room on Monday morning at 9:27 a.m. Eastern. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to everybody everywhere on planet Earth, internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this broadcast live. Best way, you only have to do it once. mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says New Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. Email, there'll be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. Benefit of doing it that way is you immediately have access to the question box. So you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy. So you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. Both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. In fact, thanks to the power of YouTube, scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. You can literally see how we've evolved over the years, day by day by day. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it is a great resource to have at your fingertips. youtube.com/CF. On the left side of the screen, you see our daily schedule. Dive right into the daily devotional. And the topic we began yesterday, anxious for nothing. Today's scripture is Philippians 4:6-7, and I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. Don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And Philippians 4:6-7. What if anxiety can bring you closer to Jesus? Jordan spent a whole year praying his anxiety away till he discovered something deeper, a stronger relationship with Jesus. Maybe you can relate to his story. And we're going to call his story, I think I'm going to die. We all are, but I mean, we all want to go to heaven, just not today, right? That's exactly what I thought to myself. Numerous sleepless nights last year. I would try to fall asleep only to be woken up in terror for no particular reason. Chest was tight. I felt like I was choking. I couldn't breathe at times. The cycle would repeat, and eventually resigned myself to sleep on the couch so I'd stop waking. One day I went to a doctor and explained my symptoms. Chest pain, trouble falling asleep, panic attacks. After a couple of tests over a few visits, he diagnosed me with anxiety. Can I be honest? It made me feel like a failure as a Christian. Hadn't I been praying against this the right way? I'm not supposed to deal with this, I would think myself. I'm supposed to have peace, not worry. That's what Jesus said to do. After following the doctor's instructions, I started to take a small dose of medication. Continued praying for anxiety to just go away. I didn't want to have to deal. 2 Corinthians 12 in the NIV translation, Paul described his thorn in the flesh. While we never know for sure what Paul's thorn was, I think it was smoking. Just kidding. Anxiety can certainly feel like one for a lot of people, including me. Paul said that he pleaded with the Lord 3 times to take it away. But instead, Jesus told him, "My grace is sufficient for you. Power is made perfect in weakness." The grace of Jesus is sufficient, no matter the circumstances. As I began praying for healing, I began to draw closer to Jesus. Jesus, like Paul, God hasn't taken away my thorn. However, I found myself more passionate about reading His Word. Prayed more than I ever. I thought what I needed was healing from my anxiety. In reality, I needed more of Jesus. I'm not saying if I had been closer to Jesus that I wouldn't have had anxiety. I'm also not going to stop praying for anxiety to leave. I keep praying to be delivered from the thorn, just like Paul. Something even better is happening to me than being instantly healed of anxiety. Developing a deeper understanding of God and a richer relationship with Him. Instead of just praying for peace, I found myself drawing closer to the Prince of Peace. When I began to worry about my future, I reminded myself that He is the Alpha and the Omega, beginning and the end, first and the last. I prayed for my anxiety, but I found something much better. Overwhelming, loving presence of Jesus in my life, even in the midst of anxiety. Signed, Simply Joy. Powerful story. I'm sure a lot of us relate to it. Eerily so. Let's pray. Lord, help us to bring every worry and every need to You. Prayer and thanksgiving. Calm our anxious hearts and fill us with Your peace. Peace that goes beyond understanding. It guards our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Keep us resting in You. It's in Jesus' name and pray. Everybody said, Amen and happy Friday. Everybody's been working for the weekend, and it is. What you gonna do? Get some. All right, numbers from around the world, starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets or the indices as they're currently. The Dow up 64 points, Nasdaq up 39, S&P 500 up 9, Russell 2000 down 5, almost 6. The commodity basket. Crude oil is up 37 cents, trading $60.04 last. Gold is up $3.20, trading $4,206.20 last. Silver is up $1.50, trading $59.03 last. That's a gain of over 2.5%. Now, as we've discussed on numerous occasions, when the price of silver moves $1, that's worth $5,000 per contract traded. Silver at the moment is up $1 session, about $15,000 per contract traded. The Asian markets at the close. Nikkei fell 536 points. Shanghai gained 27. Hang Seng rose 100. European markets at the close. FTSE down 40. DAX up 146. CAC down 7. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day Friday. And at the moment, it is a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A. Got 3 of the major indices comfortably in the green. No movers, no shakers, but green. The Dow, though, it's only up by 69 points, and that's not a lot. The Nasdaq's up 35, which is not a lot, and the S&P up 9. The Russell 2000, which often leads the pack. Now, you can't build a strategy around that because that's not something that happens every day. But sometimes it can give us an indication of where the overall markets are headed. The S&P is definitely the bellwether. Okay? But I always keep an eye on what the Russell's doing. The fact that it is opposed to the rest of the pack makes me say. All right, let's go to the news on the global front. Federal agents yesterday arrested Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old Virginia resident, on charges related to the use of an explosive device. He is suspected of planting 2 pipe bombs outside the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 storming of the U.S. Capitol. Well, at least he's an equal opportunity terrorist. Blow up Republicans and the Democrats. Okay? And this is remarkable because, again, this happened back in January of 20. The arrest marks a breakthrough in a nearly 5-year probe that puzzled investigators and fueled conspiracy theories. Bombs, viable devices about a foot long and filled with gunpowder and metal, placed between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. on January 5th. They never detonated, discovered roughly 15 hours later as the Capitol riot unfolded, alerting some law enforcement sources. Officials say the investigation involved reviewing tens of thousands of video files, over 1,000 interviews, hundreds of tips, cell tower data, and subpoenas to tech companies. Investigators also traced purchases of bomb components. You know what? If you're gonna do this kind of stuff, here's a hint: don't use your credit card. I mean, blasting caps right there on the credit card statement. And the suspect was wearing some very distinctive Nike Air Max Speed turf shoes. So far, they haven't released a motive. This guy was living in his mother's basement. He's 30 years old. You know anybody who's 30 years old and living in their mother's basement and not paying rent? I mean, that's a problem in and of itself. I remember when I turned 18, and I know that's like 100 years, but kids my age, we could not wait to leave home. I mean, I was so desperate to leave home. I didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have enough money for a bus ticket anywhere. So I joined the Navy. Next thing I know, 3 months later, or 6 months later, I'm in Japan. Oh, now, small town country boy. That was quite a change. Now, between signing up and ending up in Japan, I went to Connecticut, where I experienced the worst snowstorm in 100 years. Then I went to California, and where I got my advanced training and a lot of other crazy California things. This was the late 70s, so the smell of the 60s was still in the air. And then from there, it was off to Japan. But anyway, I should get back on track. Now, here's the real scoop. How did they come to arrest Brian Cole Jr.? Was it a new tip? Did they find some new evidence? Nope. That's what they say on the news. They just had an FBI that really wanted to catch this guy. A president who really wanted to catch this guy. Biden administration and the Biden FBI, they had the same information, the same tips, the same video. They didn't have a clue who did this. But see, when you allow law enforcement to actually do their job, great things happen. This guy's no longer a threat. Us or his. Amazon is considering launching, we talked about this briefly yesterday. Amazon is considering launching a competitor to the U.S. Postal Service, according to the Washington Post. Revelation comes as negotiations between the two stagnated over the multi-billion-dollar partnership set to expire October 1st of next year. Now, you may have noticed that you see the U.S. mail trucks running around on Sundays, and that the U.S. mail doesn't run on Sunday. It's because Bezos is renting them. So, I mean, the Postal Service has been losing money for years. So, here's how I think this is going to work out. Is instead of starting from scratch, which would just be a huge undertaking, Bezos needs to just buy the Postal Service. And I think Trump would be willing to talk about that kind of a deal. Just privatize the thing. More cost efficient. Mail will arrive on time, etc. Amazon has an extensive logistics network delivering over 9 billion same or next day items last year and 6.3 billion parcels total. Second only, Postal Service's 6.9 billion. Did you catch what I just said? Last year, the Postal Service delivered 6.9 billion packages. Amazon delivered over 9 billion same or next day items. It's incredible. However, the company often relies on the Postal Service and private carriers like UPS and FedEx for the so-called last mile, getting the product to customers. The doorstep. USPS is the only delivery service reaching nearly 167 million U.S. addresses, including post office boxes. Two entered a partnership in 2013, bringing the USPS a cash influx, $6 billion this year, accounting for 7.5% of the Postal Service's total revenue. Oh, yeah, I promise you, I had not read this article, just the headline. President Donald Trump's effort to privatize the USPS is reportedly a sticking point in the negotiations. I don't understand why that would be a sticking point. I'm missing something there. I'll figure it out. Sharp guy. Volcanic activity in the mid-14th century may have sparked a climate shock, paving the way for Europe's Black Death pandemic, according to new clues observed in tree rings. Now, I was always taught that the Black Death was because of the sanitation or lack of sanitation in Europe. Scientists have widely accepted that the bacterium behind the bubonic plague originated from Central Asian wild rodents. But why the plague reached and spread so quickly in Europe, where it killed millions of people in the late 1340s and early 1350s, mortality rates approaching 60% in some regions, has been less clear. Now, an analysis of tree rings has revealed that the summers before the pandemic were atypically cold, and historical records describe unusual cloudiness and dark lunar eclipses. Taken together, evidence suggests ash and gases from an unidentified eruptions block sunlight, cooling temperatures, and triggering crop failure. Italian city-states likely traded across the Black Sea to avert famine, unwittingly bringing plague-carrying families home. See that moon last night? It's what they call a cold moon. I saw a shot of it over the White House, and it was just breathtaking. And next month, we're going to have what they call full moon time next month. We're going to and they say that does things to the markets, so that's kind of what it looks like. But market ran down, and now I think it's kind of ran back up. So, okay, speaking of Wall Street, U.S. stocks moved higher today as Wall Street digested cooling in the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gain, increasing the odds that the central bank will cut rates next week. Investors continue to bet heavily on a quarter-point interest rate cut from the central bank this Wednesday the 10th. Traders are pricing in 87% odds of compared with 62% a month ago. Today, a delayed reading of the PCE price index showed inflation rose about as expected in September. Core PCE index, the Fed's favored price gauge, slightly, rising 2.8% on an annual basis. At the same time, U.S. consumer confidence rose for the first time in 5 months as respondents' inflation's expectations improved. Jobs market, well, that's a mixed bag. Challenger report on Thursday showed U.S. companies cut 71,000 jobs last month, first November print since 2022, yet new weekly jobless claims fell to their lowest since September 2, reinforcing the picture of a labor market cooling gradually, not rapidly. U.S. consumer sentiment improved slightly in December, even as Americans grappled with the frozen job market and rising prices. I give up. Netflix is set to acquire Warner Discovery Studio and streaming assets in a $72 billion deal, plus debt, bringing Hollywood's most storied film and TV studio and the world's largest streaming platform together in one of the biggest entertainment deals in history. Companies announced today that they entered into a definitive agreement subject to regulatory approval. And I think this is where they're going to run into trouble, getting the regulatory. This is quite a monopoly. Give Netflix control of Warner Brothers films and TV studios, as well as HBO and HBO Max. So they get this deal through. Bloomberg, the year-end rally in equities is at risk from a Federal Reserve outlook that's too cautious on the economy. Bank of America. The S&P 500 index within striking distance of the all-time historic high. And we'll put that on the chart here in just a minute. The S&P 500 index within striking distance of a record high, investors are confident about a best-case scenario where the Fed cuts interest rates alongside falling inflation and economic growth, which remains. But that optimism stands to be tested if the central bank sends dovish signals at the meeting next week. Now, the only thing that can stop a Santa Claus rally is a dovish Fed cut, causing a sell-off in long end. U.S. stocks have rallied as investors bet the central bank would reduce rates further to shore up a softening labor market. Wagers on a cut at the meeting next Wednesday have soared to over 90%, 60% just a month prior. Traders have also fully priced in 3 cuts by September next year. U.S. Steel, it will resume making steel slabs at its Granite City Works plant in Illinois as demand rebounds. The company shut down the last blast furnace there in 2023, and it even moved to wind down its steel processing mill there in September. However, it reversed its stance on the processing mill under pressure from the White House and now says it is going a step further by resuming steelmaking by reopening the blast furnace it idled 3 years ago amid strikes by the United Auto Workers. See, Trump, he just goes in and just fixes stuff. Silver touched a fresh record high. I just lost everything. Am I still streaming? It looks like I am. Something went bad. I got a high CPU. Did you notice? Silver touched a fresh record high and is on pace for its second weekly gain as strong inflows to exchange-traded funds added more to a scorching rally. White metal rose as much as 3.9% on Friday to a new record of $59.33 an ounce. Total additions to silver-backed ETFs in days through Thursday are already the highest for any full week since July. Strong signal of investor appetite despite signs silver's gains may be overdone. Yeah. Well, they say that people are lining up in Singapore to buy physical silver, so who knows? I don't know. I think my browser crashed. Thinking might be done until Moses. I don't know. Try. Well, the National Bank of Canada just revealed that they have $273 million worth of the country's 6th largest bank now holds 7 million Mr. shares. MicroStrategy, MSTR, Mr. They aren't buying actual Bitcoin, they're buying shares in Saylor's company. All right. Well, it looks like things are working, so I think my browser's toast. But this Logic 247 is our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, it's also crude silver. Currently in week 383. over the last 383 weeks, we have issued 21,100 individual handcrafted alerts, and what we've averaged on a basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, she will update it and finalize it for the week this afternoon or morning, as she does each week. Time of the recap. Since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued a total of 45 alerts. Never triggered, that's probably a duplicate. Still waiting on the outcome of 8 at the time of the recap. Some of those may have resolved themselves. So that gave us 36 actionable alerts. 4 or 11% would have been stopped out. Again, based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and in most cases, additional targets and then a final trade to target. The purpose of the alerts is to teach you how to read a chart. Never ever trade a Logic 247 alert. At least use them to learn how to read the chart. Because if you want to trade for a living, you better be able to read a chart. And reading a chart means knowing where to expect potential resistance, where to anticipate potential support. Without that ability, you're kind of flying blind. So, you can also trade them. Let's see, last week we had 11% this week stopped out, but that'll change when Valerie finalizes. I think last week we had 13%, the week before we had 8%, the week before. So 383 weeks, that's a long time. It's over 7 years. Years before there was a Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge traders. They're different in a lot of ways. So this discussion, I'll just point out, they're published as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. Friday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. But all of our traders had all of these targets: S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude, NQ, silver, 5 minutes before Friday session began last night. Now the logic alerts can come, they're called Logic 247 because they can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. So for the purpose of this discussion, like I said, there's a lot of differences between the logic alerts and the CTAs. Now, as we go through the individual markets and you see the CTAs drawn out on the charts, just remember that all of our traders had that information 5 minutes before the market opened. It's important. So with that, hopefully we can go to the chart of the S&P. And you're all those lines. Well, I'm about to explain that to you. Explain it to you. Trade explain it. It's together. It says we're still streaming. All right. During last night's members only workshop, what I was pointing out was something I tell you guys pretty much every day. When the black step line crosses blue and climbing, see how on the way up over here, this is way back in July. See how the step line, right where I put this vertical line, that's where the step line went from the left side to the right side, climbing. And when that happens, price typically will trace to C. Now, price always reverts to the mean. I don't care what you're trading and how you're trading it. Price always reverts to the mean. It's just the nature of markets. In our case, mean is green and it's called the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. Price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. As you can see, we had a leg and a retracement, leg, and then right there on that day, see how the step line crossed and price pulled back to the BBC. Step line crossed, pull back to the BBC. Step line crossed, back to the BBC. Step line crossed, pull back to the BBC. This was a 6-day pullback that held. Every one of those candles is touching the green line. That's a hold. And we finally got a leg, a retracement, back held. And we went on to put in new all-time historic and closing highs after that 6-day pullback. Then labeled this one, didn't it? Guess it ain't working. Price is still moving. Chart. All right, well, this shows that we're well off the high of the session. Okay. And I was, but it's not right. I can't shrink it. I can't do anything. I even go to a chart. Guys, we got a problem. Try to close some stuff. And just close this whole brown. Should have rebooted yesterday. Says. Just gonna close. All right, sorry about this, guys. Still flowing charts. Snap. There's just really nothing shut down that's going to make a difference. All right. Anyway, I was going to put another line here because, as you can see, the step line. Last night in the workshop, I failed to put a step. I forgot to put the vertical line there. See the step line crossed and price pulled back to the BBC. Then we had a head fake here, a candle opening below the BBC. That was on a Friday, and then we popped right back up. Wednesday, got a doji, set us down. Get it this way: leg retracement, leg retracement. Got like a double top going on. So as the step line crosses down to the BBC, and if we trade put, got potential support at this double bottom percent extension. I can use and stuff that's running something will sources. Should have saved that. Well, I'm not going to be able to show it to you, but on the Dow yesterday, you may remember that we show it to you this way. Anyway, I was going to show you this on the chart, but my charts are froze. Tuned in yesterday on the Dow. I drew, price was, I think we were on this candle right here. And I drew in two windows of operation as we were going through the charts in granular fashion as we normally do. I drew 2 windows of opportunity. I said, now it doesn't matter which way price goes. We don't have to worry and fester over, is price going to go up? Is it going to go down? Because we have 2 beautiful windows of opportunity. We don't have to worry about whether or not the market goes up or down. Now, this looks real pretty. I snapped this image last night, but I really wanted to show you today's chart because guess what happened today? This window. See, in the morning, you can go through all of your charts, whatever markets you look at. Find the windows of opportunity if price goes higher. Find a window of opportunity if price goes lower. Mark it out like I did, and just be patient. Yesterday, all you had to do was be patient and wait for it up to the top of the window. And you don't have to get out at the bottom of the window. Ride it. Want to. Spiked quite well. I can't show it to you. Charts are frozen. Oh, did my chart suddenly come unfroze? Break it, Dwayne. All right, let's see if we can go to the Dow. There's too much to hope for. Oh, snap. I can't even. I was going to just restart my chart and turn them off. Save my file. I guess I could just crash close it. Michael's going to be 6 minutes. That's probably what I'm going to end up having to do anyway. Yes. It's trying to regain its composure. I'd really rather not have to close it. All right, I'm sorry guys, I'm stuck here. Just wait for Michael. He'll be here in a few minutes. If I'm able to successfully relaunch the charts when Michael's done, I will go through each and every market. Good. It's like just won't do the deal. Here, let me try this. File, space, save as. File B. I was able to. I was clicking the wrong file anyway. So take it down. I'm not. I am. Just gonna Okay, got the charts closed. So I can get them to react. You used to get the blue screen of death. I got the black screen. Supposedly we're still streaming. Dang. So let's see what happens. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now I can show you what I was trying to show you on the Dow. See, these are the two windows I drew yesterday. So last night, or yesterday afternoon, we filled the short window. And this morning, filled the long window. That's what I've been trying to get that across, and I think a lot of people don't quite grasp it. You can plan your work ahead of time. There's the window of opportunity. Find it, highlight it, and then just wait for price to get there. Now, you see, top of this window was based off, we knew we had to take out that low. Why? Because when this candle opened, it was red coming down. I got it right there. Buyers swooped in, up. So we know that that was a powerful support area, right? So we wanted to make sure that price got below that area before it get triggered into a trade. Then we wanted to get out of the trade before we hit support at the weekly zone. That's a very conservative window. Just like this is a very conservative window. Okay? I just wanted to get above all these highs, this high, because this makes all of this not even an issue, okay? Because it really was a huge green candle all the way up. Same 30-minute period, it came all the way back down. Actually, the candle opened here. First it ran up, and it ran down to support at the zone. Then it bounced up to close right here. Anyway, on this candle, we wanted to get below this low, right? There's the pocket. Just shouldn't have any resistance until at least the zone or this previous swing low, but it went further. Sometimes it'll do that. Low actually came in like right here, which is not necessarily a spot I would have expected support. I don't control the markets. Support sent us up to resistance at the zone, sent us back down to support at the zone, which then sent us up through the long target and through this window. Now, I said this was a conservative window. I mean, I could have drew it much bigger. And if you were in that trade, you might have chosen to stay with it. I mean, that's still conservative. Look at how much room you got before you get to the top there. All right. I know Michael's going to be here in a minute. On the ES, this was the open. We hit the long target, found resistance at the zone. Resistance sends the market looking for support. We hit the short target to the tick. And it bounced us way up here. Still got another zone overhead. I don't think we'll see it today, but it's there. The Russell's been really quiet today. Yes, we did hit the long target, but not much happening there. The NQ, here's where we opened last night, ran right up to the long target by 9 p.m. Eastern. Now, this candle opened at 6:20. So that's $1,800 per contract trade from the open of this candle to the target. And remember, all of our traders had their targets 5 minutes ahead of the Forex open last night. Sorry, and then you can see that we found support right at the short target, pretty much to the tick. That's just based off where. Learning to read a chart is not as hard as you think it is. You just got to put in the time and the effort and go through the things that I tell you to do. And soon, it yourself. Okay, so silver got knocked off its high horse, but it's trying to claw its way back. We'll see. Michael's here though, but he's going to give us a recap of what happened. My whole charts froze up.
Did they?
Yeah, I was about ready to just
Wrap it up.
and until you showed up, and then all of a sudden, well, I finally managed to get my charts closed, and then I reopened them, and they're working fine now. So I don't know. I'm overdue for a reboot. So
Yes.
sometimes you just got to reboot. Okay.
Sometimes you just bite the bullet and hit the reboot button.
All right, guys. Michael's going to give you a recap of what happened in the live training room, do a little live trading as time permits. Then I'll come back and I'll run through the rest of the markets that we didn't have a chance to look at and wrap things up with our good.
Excellent.
All right. Excellent. Looks good.
All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 5th day of December, 2025. Now, okay, let me just get into this. Sorry. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right there. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. I believe I refreshed that last night. Let me hit refresh on it again. Hang on. Let's do the whole thing over again. I know I did this yesterday. So hit refresh there, close that page, and hit this. Bam, there it is. Go to this page. It's going to bring you to this registration page where all the answers, your name, your email, your phone number, down here at the bottom. Gives you TradingView login ID. Okay, if you don't have one of those, click on this link. Go to that place right there. This is what it looks like. Watch this video. Get your TradingView ID. And supply it. Once you give that to us, we will be able to get your indicators indicating and get you into the room trading with us in the morning. Okay? Okay. Now, all right, let's get into this right now. If you are going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 5th day of December 2025. Today we made 92 ticks on the NQ, 29 ticks on the YM, 25 ticks on gold, and 40 ticks on the ES. That put us at $1,355 per contract on the morning session. Today it took 1 minute and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,100, and we took a total of 45 trades this morning. So, and we had 5 stop outs. And I fixed this field. Michael R., I don't know if you're watching. You saw me do it this morning. That's going to be a big relief to you. I know that will make you sleep easier this weekend, knowing that I've done that. You don't have to wake up and see that again on Monday. So we had 88.8% of our trades this morning were break even or better, right? 5 out of the 45 stopped out. On them up now, that puts us at $6,207 over 5 business days, averaging $1,241 per contract for 2-hour business day. On the year, we're now at $259,665 over 209 business days, averaging $1,242 with 1 contract for each business day. All right, now we trade 10 contracts, so the numbers get big in the year. It's great. it's all's good. It's been a good year. Next year, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to stick to 10 all year next year. Right? 10 is a great number, and it's working out well for all the markets traded. Occasionally, we stop trading markets like the NQ the other day or gold the other day because there's just too much of a spread, too much slippage, but we're going to stick with it. We can adjust as needed. From the fetal position, I think you'll be okay. You'll be okay. You can open one eye. All right, so the 24/20 blueprint, we are still under 29 hours on the year, quitting when you get the goal for the day, right? Still under 29 hours. And if you were to quit when you get the goal for the day and do exactly as I have done and add one contract per month, you now be trading 12 contracts, you have $209,889, averaging $7,245 per hour on the year so far. Okay, for those 28.96 hours. All right, we'll get into that in just a second. Just wanted to go in this one more time if you guys are watching right now. We have been consistently getting the goal for the day in the little bit of time that I have to trade in this session. All right, well, that would have been the goal. That would have been multiple times set the goal. That would have been the goal. This would have been not. This would have been not. That would have just about been the goal. That would have been half the goal with the one contract I'm talking about here. All right, this is with 10 contracts on. So we're consistently making money in the time that I have to do the trading in this session. So without further ado, let's get in here and look at the trades that I took. I didn't take that many trades today, so we'll be able to get through this pretty quick, probably, but I did get distracted answering emails to people and showed up here a few minutes late, which I am deeply sorry for. But it turns out the wing wasn't working right either, so no harm, no foul today. All right, so this is the gold. Flip this over so we can see what we did on gold. On gold, we started out with the break even, then a stop out minus 15, another break even, then we got plus 10 that put us at minus 5 overall, another break even, then a plus 2 that got us to minus 3, then a break even, then a plus 10 that got us to plus 7, then a plus 5 that got us to plus 12, and then a plus 5 more got us to 17, then a 10 more got us to 27, then another 10 got us to 37, then another 1 to 38, another 1 to 39, another 1 to 40, and we stopped out somewhere in here. What was our last trade? We stopped out. There it is right there. We stopped out on that one, and that brought us all the way down to plus 25. Okay, plus 25 was what we ended with the gold. Now, during the break, there was one very nice trade right here. That was also traded gap down. It would have come back up. It would have given me a break even overall on that. It would have given me a break even. If I didn't hit a target here, or I didn't manage, actually, it would have given me a plus 1. I think about it because I changed the DOM on that one to go to plus 1 tick after it hits 5 ticks in profit. Go to plus 1 tick. So that's what it does now. Those two trades would have been in there. Then looking. Nope. This would have been a trade right here. That would have eventually stopped out. Moving along. Wrong way on that one. That would have been a trade right there. But this would have been, yeah, this would have been a trade right here. Both of those would have been okay. They wouldn't have stopped out unless you were asleep. That would have been a trade there. And now with the auto plus 1, it definitely wouldn't have stopped out. It would have been a break even with some slippage, or a plus 1 with no slippage. This would have been okay. That's not a trade. Moving all the way through here. All the way through here and here. And here and here. And that's it. Okay, and that is it. So we ended up on the gold this morning with plus 25 ticks on the YM. For some reason, I feel like we were back and forth on the YM. I got the goal for the day on the very first trade on the YM. So we hit the YM pretty good the first few trades, and then I think we had a stop out or two in there. Oops, I just went right by it. Here we are. This is our first trade on the YM, and this is where we got the goal for the day. We picked up 22 ticks on that one. Then picked up another 22 ticks on that one. That goes to 44, and 1 to 45. Then 12 to 57, and then we stopped out down to 42. And then we got 5 more to 47, and then we stopped out again down to 32. And then we went up to 42 again, and we stopped out again, this time down to 27. And then we picked up 1 tick to 28, and 1 more tick to 29. And that is where we ended it with the YM this morning. Now, during the break, let's see if we had anything during the break. It was a long trade here that it never went full cycle, so you wouldn't have had this one. You would have had some profit or break even. This would have been another one here that would have been good. This right here would have been a good trade. This right here would have been a good trade. And that right there would have been a good trade. So there were some nice trades there on the YM during the break. All right, we ended up with plus 29 on the YM. The high of the day for us on the YM was, looks like 47. Nope, 57. But we ended up with 29. On the gold, the high of the day for us was 40. And we ended up with 25. On the ES, we ended up with 40, and that was the high of the day. So let's go to the ES now, control impact. Oops. All right. Moving along here on the gold. I'm not the gold, on the ES. Our first trade on the ES this morning, we picked up 12 ticks there. And then the next one, we picked up 12 ticks. So we had 12 there and 12 there. Got us to 24 ticks. On the YM, we had 22 and 22. It's kind of odd because it's almost the same amount of money. Now this is 150 with one contract of 1,500 per trade. So we're up to $3,000 after those two trades. And on the YM, we were up 22 and 22. That's 44. We're up 2,000, 2,200. I guess it wasn't the same. Doing the math in my head. Sorry. The next trade we had was a break even. Then we had a plus 10 that got us to 34. Then we had a plus 2 got us to 36. A bunch of break evens right there, and then a plus 4 that got us to 40. And that was the end of the session for us. Let's see. That was it. We have a trade here that's just about to develop. It would have been. It's gone down too low right now, but if we had an up close on that, that would have been a trade right there. The way, if it goes up right now, it'll be 1 tick away from hitting the midpoint. So that will not be a good place to trade. Okay. Now the NQ. You didn't have that many trades on the NQ this morning either. We were only up 92 ticks on the NQ. Which for us is not that much. Still on the right day here? Okay. It's going all the way back here. All right, on this first trade that I took right here, it wasn't flat. The midpoint wasn't flat, so that probably wasn't the best trade to take, but I ended up with 45 ticks on that one. Then I stopped out on the one right after it. So that this put me at plus 45, this put me at plus 20. Then I went from 20 up to 65, so I had another 45 tick trade there. Then I went from 65 to 69. Then moving along. Wow, there were a lot of bars in here. 69 to 70, 70 to 71, 71 to 79, 79 to 80, 80 to 84, 84 to 88, and 88 to 92. And that is where we ended up with the NQ. Now, on the NQ, right here, sorry, I just had this up. On the NQ right here, we bounced off the midpoint and we came out the oversold. That was a good trade right there. Moving along this way, this was a decent trade right here. That would have been a really nice trade to get right there. So we had 2 good trades there on the NQ turn break so far. And 3 good trades. 4. 5. 6. 7. This would have been one right there. 7. 8. That would have been a break-even trade. 9. That would have been break-even trade. Get pretty choppy in here. That would have been break-even. That would have been break-even. That would have been really choppy in here. That one would have eventually given you profit over here. That would have been okay. That would have been okay. That's 11 profitable trades and about 5 break-even trades so far. That would have been a good one. 12, 13. This would have stopped you out. That right there would have eventually, you'd be in it right now if you shorted that right there. So we had some good trades there, some good opportunity on the NQ during the break. Okay. So let me just say this. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. It will bring you to the registration page. Just fill out the registration page. Down at the bottom, give us your trading view login ID. All right, once you do that, we get your indicators indicating for you on your desktop. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can put some trades on now. Yeah, a little bit of time left. Audio. You don't have any audio? I think my audio's on. Is it better now, Michael?
I hear you just fine. I don't know.
Okay. It might have been a period there where I shut my mic off. Maybe. Bart, if you are listening, oh, it was a long time ago. Okay. Are you listening now, Bart? No. Okay. As long as I know you're not. Okay. Well, nothing you said you did earlier this week happened. Okay. Do you remember what you said? All right. So we're looking here on the NQ right now. We're in a red background. We're oversold. We've done full cycle. We need to pull back up and bounce off the midpoint. This is pulled back so deep here on the YM. I don't want to have a long trade. We wouldn't get one anyway. It's got to go all the way up to the overbought and come back down before we'd have a trade there. It's going to flip the YBR. I think the ES is about to flip the YBR too. The gold just did, and the NQ has. So let's go here for a second. Take a look at what we got going on. So the high of the day was way up here. All right. We're still having a green day so far, but it could sell off. I'm thinking when it gets down to here, we're due to pull back to the BBC at some point. I don't know when and I don't know why, but we're due to pull back to the BBC because we crossed it. So we're due to pull back to it. And when we do, if that happens, when that happens this month, when we pull back to the BBC, that is going to be a good opportunity. I said this morning for anybody that was listening. It'd be a good opportunity to look at January call options on the SPY. Okay, or if you want to buy January call options on the ES, or micros on the ES, because I think by the end of the year we're going to see 7,000 on the ES. So if you can get it down here at the BBC when it does that pullback, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you again when it happens. It's just my thought. The way the pattern is coming together. You know, we talked about this in the meeting last night, and you can see it in the picture of Dwayne's chart from the meeting last night. If we just look at just this piece of it right here. Oops. This is Dwayne's chart when we started the meeting last night. You can see right here the inverted head and shoulder pattern. Here's a head, here's a shoulder, there's the neck. We're building this shoulder right now. So it needs to pull back a little bit, kind of like this is right in here. Okay, do that pullback to the BBC right there, and then break the neckline up here. Okay. That's what it looks like. And we talked about that last night a little bit. On the NQ right now, we could have a trade come up. Hang on, I just covered up all my DOMs. On the NQ, nope, sorry. No trade.
The Dow as well.
Yep, the Dow is closer than the NQ now. The NQ, the midpoint just shifted on it. So all three of these are potential trades coming up. Doorbusters are here. Gold, the YM, and the ES. Gold is at the midpoint. It just needs a down close now. I think we can get an up close, follow my down close on the gold, and that would be fine. If we get a down close right now, that'd still be okay. 45.2 down to 44.2. Looks like this. And the ES and the YM are not there yet. Almost. Right, a little closer now. YM just closed up. We just entered on the gold. The gold just triggered to +1 tick. I'm going to go to +5 on that now. And that's it. +5 on the gold. Right, that was a pretty simple $500 or 50. Both of these need to close up. If they close down a commodity overbought, it's going to reset the midpoint and it's going to have to start the process all over again. But the gold was a pretty easy trade to take right there. Okay, so today is 12.5. So far, we're +5 on gold. And we have 1, 0. Carry this down. Paste. There we go. Get back in here. And see, that one closed down, pulled it out, so it's resetting everything. This one has not closed down yet on the ES. We could still get an up close and get a trade on the ES, but the others are the ES. Okay. It's not really what I was talking about, Bart, but that's good. That's good progress. We need to be alive to be able to trade. So, all right, so the ES, well, the ES isn't going to be anything, but the YM could be. The YM's gone full cycle now, and it needs to pull back up. The gold did not go full cycle. It never got into the oversold. The YM has, so the YM could give us a trade. The ES cannot right now. The NQ can't right now. If we get an up close on this, it's probably going to hit the midpoint, the YBR, and flip it. We do need to get an up close to get into the overbought, and then we're going to be too far away from the midpoint. So there's two things that are going to screw up the trade here on the YM, on the NQ. There. So now we're in the overbought. The midpoint is not flat. All right. So a down close right now would not be a trade. It's hit the YBR, so it's going to flip the YBR right now. So now I'll be looking for a long trade instead of a short trade. On the YM, we also just flipped up above the prior swing high right here. Okay, it changed the midpoint up, so that's not going to be a trade there either. Looks like they're all going to go up and flip the YBR except gold. But the gold didn't go full cycle, so we don't have a trade there. I'm typing it into your bar. This is not a trade here on the gold because we didn't go full cycle over here. Right? I like the way it looks, and it's a trade that I would want to take, but it's not a valid trade. All right, so the YM is not a valid trade from right here. It needs to go down, then come back up. So you're 3 bars at a minimum away from a trade on the YBM. And I think it's going to flip the YBR before it does that. The NQ is not that far away from a trade. We need a down close on this bar. Then the next bar after that, if we got a down close, we're not gonna, but if we did get a down close on this bar, the one after that could hit the midpoint and give us an up close, but it's not doing any of that stuff. So we just have to wait. Flipping the YBR here on YM. We need to hit the midpoint on the gold. If we hit the midpoint and give it down close, crap, it didn't. We need to hit the midpoint to get an actual trade there. I was tempted to cheat on that one and do it anyway, but it's Friday. Things are going well. I only have 1 minute left. I'm not going to cheat. Make dumb mistakes. So we flip the YBR there, and there. Now we may get a trade in here in the next 45 seconds. We may not. The only thing that's likely to do it right now is going to be the NQ. Nothing came through on any links that I ever sent to you, CFRN or otherwise. I'll check the email bar, the last email that I sent to you, make sure that everything's good in there. All right, this is not a trade over here on the gold. We didn't go full cycle on the last move. It doesn't look like we're going to get another one, guys. So I guess we're going to wrap it up right here for today. In this session, we only had the one trade that was a 5-tick win. Is that 510? That's not right. Gold, column K. K times 10. Why did I add a 10 on there? That doesn't make sense. There's something else going on there. I'll have to figure it out. Okay, now it's messed up even more. I'll figure out the formula for it. It's times 10. That number 10 plus. This is it right here. Times 10 plus that, times 10 plus that. The times 10 plus thing got mixed up in there. That's what the difference is. I'll have to go fix it. Anyway, we were up $500 in this session. with 10 contracts on, or $50 with one contract on. We had one trade that we took a profit on. If you've not taken a free trial with us, go ahead to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. It'll bring you to the registration page. Fill it out. Right. Make sure you use the trade view login ID down at the bottom. All right. And with that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 1 minute and 2 trades to get to $1,100 with 10 contracts.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we're going to do this real quick because I got to get my computer booted and browser crashed, so it crashed with it. And we already talked about silver opened here last night and hit an all-time historic high. And then we came back to the VVC. Price always reverts to the mean. Black holes more often than not. Right now we got a situation where the step line is crossed blue and climbing. Already saw the pullback to the VVC. So price is kind of pinched. The step line is acting right now as support, and overhead blue and climbing directly above price as potential resistance, along with that weekly trading zone 59/31. It's the all-time historic high. These are futures, so spot price, of course, be a little bit. Yes, we opened here last night, hit the long target, hit the short target, long target again, found support at the top side of the long target. And it looks like the ES wants to try to rally again. Opened here, and we fell to here off the 8:30 news. 10 o'clock news. Sold off. Remember, support at the zone. Resistance at the zone. Publish the zones every week for our members for the last 16 years. As of the 14th of this month, it'll be 16 years. And the only thing that's changed about the weekly trading zones 16 years is absolutely nothing. Okay, I already showed you the windows of opportunity we drew during the live broadcast yesterday, except this box was at that. I was being very conservative, but still the short side yesterday, we filled the long side today. So what I tried to get across with showing you these yesterday and what I posted in the discussion group is that you can plan your work ahead of time. Okay? Now this is a little bit different than the intensity of the live training room in the morning. Those of you who find that a little too intense, you have trouble keeping up. But you can also blend the two together and create your own hybrid model where, okay, you find your windows of opportunity. Then as price is approaching the top of that window, go to your range chart and you look for a sell signal. Range chart, because you know that the bigger picture is supporting your shorter time frame. So you're trading with the flow as opposed to against the flow. Time that just will work. Russell was a sleepy dog today. It did make it up to the long target, just where blue turned yesterday. Never made it to the short target, which is off of cross. So Sunday night, they open. If prices drop, remember bullish cross. 25.17, that's potential support. The NQ, we opened here, we made an $1,800 run right up to the target at 9 o'clock. And arced over and dropped right at the short target of the tick. What's that based off of? See where red. NQ is getting ready to try to bust a move to the upside. So I'll give you conservative. You definitely want to take out this high. Good. And depending upon the momentum of the move, I mean, you could stay with it until you start to lose momentum. Let's say the whole thing falls apart and we don't ever enter that window. Price ends up getting below the VBC, selling off as we go into close and the weekend. Okay, there's your short side opportunity. By the time we meet again on Monday, either this window or this window will have filled, or at least partially filled. Never know if it's going to go all the way through. The bigger the window, the greater the potential for it to go like halfway through and come back and then make a full run. So, I mean, sometimes it'll do it in one leg, sometimes it'll take 2 legs, and sometimes it'll take 3 legs. Remember, you only need 5 ticks with the ink at $20 a point to go for that. I'll leave these here. Look at them. See, got filled. It's possible we could run up and fill this one this afternoon, and then Sunday night we could drop and fill this. Oil. See, you don't. I guess really my point is you don't. People are always trying to know what's going to happen next in the market. That's not possible. But you know, one of 2 things is going to happen. Price is either going to go up or it's going to go down. So you plan for both contingencies. Okay? Higher is a nice, clean, clear window of opportunity. And if price drops, where's a nice, clean window of opportunity? Once those are mapped out, then your job is to just be patient, wait for price to get to that area. Imagine if every morning you went through all the different markets you watch and you did exactly what I just said. You just sat back, put your feet up on the desk, and waited for price on the 3-minute chart to approach one of the windows that you drew in, and then you swing into action. You grab your range chart, execute in the direction trend. All right, I like it. Here's the open on crude last night. We got below the BBC, but we never got down to the bullish cross. Just consolidated sideways, and then the 9:30 open sent us up to, I think, the high of the week. And is that the highest weekly zone? Nope, there's still one more zone above that. Way up there, 62.30. Gold. Here's where we opened last night. We dropped to the short target. Okay. Consolidated. Then made a run at the long target. Overcame it. Pulled back to the VBC held. Leg retracement. Leg retracement. Leg. Historic high. Then Boom. All the way back down to the short target, to the tick. We're about to get a bearish cross right here. So I guess gold's headed lower. Silver. Yep. Silver found support at the black step line like we just talked about, but it's got resistance times 2 just overhead. So putting that vertical line there because the open Sunday night, we should see the step line cross. Okay. One that I had failed to do in the workshop last night was this one. What I've done is I've highlighted each spot where all of these vertical lines. It's a highlight of where the black step line crossed balloon and climbing. Price came back to the VVC. Step line crosses. Step line crosses, pull back. Step line crosses, pull back. Step line crosses. 6-day pullback that hell. Step line crosses, pull back. Here, step line crossed red falling. Pullback. This pullback didn't hold, it just kept going. Okay. Pullback holds more often than not. And again, and again. Until it doesn't. Let's move it in. So, I mean, unless this market just gets crazy wild to the upside. Now, this is where you should be looking for resistance if the market continues to climb. Exact number, 6,900. After that, 6,910. And once you're over this little hump right here, get above 6,920, then it's just clear sailing right up to the all-time historic high. We're like 0.5% away from the all-time historic high. S&P. Okay, no good word for the day. Just want to wish you well. Thanks for tuning in. Wherever you are, wherever you are, God continue to bless you. His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.